What if I told you that almost every billionaire in history has one thing in common? They eventually lost it all. Not because they didn't work hard or because they made bad investments, but because they misunderstood how wealth actually works. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover a hidden truth about money that almost no one teaches. A truth that explains why most fortunes vanish within 3 generations, and how you can avoid the same fate. This isn't about earning more. It's about making decisions that make your wealth last, for decades, for lifetimes. You'll learn the same principles used by the few who built lasting empires. How to size your risk so you never go broke, how to spend without self-destruction, and how to design a financial system that runs itself, calmly, predictably, and powerfully. By the end of this video, you'll have a new way of thinking about money, not as something to chase, but as something to control. You'll understand why the smartest investors don't gamble, they plan. Why the richest people don't obsess over getting rich, they focus on staying rich. So, watch till the end, because this isn't just another finance video. It's the missing chapter every millionaire wishes they had read before they lost it all. The secrets of the missing billionaires start now. If your family inherited a vast fortune today, would that wealth still exist 3 generations later? History shows it probably wouldn't. The truth is, most great fortunes disappear not because of bad luck, but because of bad decisions. The story of the missing billionaires begins here, with people who had every advantage, every opportunity, and still lost it all. Cornelius Vanderbilt's descendants, the heirs of oil barons, and even modern tech millionaires have all fallen prey to the same hidden trap: misunderstanding risk. We're obsessed with what to buy, where to invest, or which stock will make us rich. But the real question is never what to buy. It's how much. Victor Haghani learned this the hard way. As a co-founder of long-term capital management, he watched billions vanish not because the firm was wrong about markets, but because it misjudged position sizing, the amount risked per decision. The same principle that destroyed billion-dollar funds also wipes out families, small investors, and businesses. Wealth isn't lost in one bad year. It's lost in a series of small, overconfident moves. The just one more bet syndrome. When you risk too much too often, even a winning game becomes unwinnable. The first practical rule is simple but revolutionary. Before you ask what to invest in, decide how much of your total wealth to risk. If you can survive the worst case, you'll always stay in the game. Maybe the real reason billionaires go missing isn't fate. It's failing to understand that enough is more powerful than more. What if the real secret to staying rich isn't about earning more, but betting better? How can he prove this through an experiment that should terrify and enlighten every investor? He gave a group of financially trained participants $25 to bet on a coin biased 60% in their favor. In theory, they couldn't lose. In reality, over a third of them went broke. Why? They didn't understand risk sizing. Some bet too much and lost everything in a few flips. Others bet too little and gained nothing. Only those who consistently wagered a small, fixed fraction of their bankroll made money. This is the same math that governs markets, careers, and even life decisions. Most of us treat investing like gambling, chasing streaks, doubling down after losses, shrinking after wins. But the market, like that coin, is biased in your favor if you stay disciplined. The secret is constancy. Bet the same percentage every time. Never go all in. Before you invest again, ask yourself one question. If this dropped 50%, could I still sleep at night? If the answer is no, you've bet too much. The key isn't to win big, it's to never go broke. True wealth isn't built by predicting the future, it's built by surviving it. Every lasting fortune follows this rule. Every vanished one ignored it. Imagine spending your entire life building wealth, only to discover later that you never truly understood how to keep it. The third step in this journey begins with a question that haunts almost every investor. How do you decide how much risk is the right amount? Not too little to miss opportunities, not too much to invite ruin. That balance, what Victor Haghani calls the sizing decision, is where fortunes are either made or lost. Most of us think of investing as choosing between stocks, bonds, or real estate. But beneath every investment is a simple equation. How much of your total wealth to put at stake? That's the part most people ignore. The authors take insights from economists like Robert Merton and John Kelly, who showed that the optimal strategy isn't to avoid risk, but to size it. The idea is that you should take just enough risk to maximize your long-term growth, but never so much that a single bad outcome can end the game. The math can be summarized as this. Invest a percentage of your wealth that reflects both your risk tolerance and the quality of the opportunity. High Sharpe ratio, you can afford a little more exposure. High uncertainty, scale it down. The same applies outside the market. Don't bet your entire career on one job or your business on one client. Here's how to apply it practically. Start by estimating your financial and emotional limits. Then, fix a target percentage of your total wealth to risk on any single idea, never a fixed amount. If you have $10,000 to invest, risking 10% means you'd put $1,000 in play, not $5,000 just because it feels like a round number. That 10% rule protects you when things go wrong and compounds when they go right. This is how professionals think. They don't play to win once. They play to stay in the game forever. The missing billionaires weren't destroyed by bad investments, but by failing to understand that risk sizing, not stock picking, is the ultimate wealth skill. The secret isn't in finding the next big thing. It's in surviving long enough for your small bets to grow into something extraordinary. Most people think investing is about picking the right stocks or timing the market, but Victor Haghani and James White reveal that the real key to wealth lies in how you make financial decisions when outcomes are uncertain. Life is full of these decisions. How much to save, when to retire, what kind of insurance to buy, or even when to take Social Security. The authors show that people consistently make mistakes not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack a system for thinking about uncertainty. Our brains crave certainty. When faced with unknown outcomes, we either take too much risk or none at all. This is where the concept of utility comes in. A 300-year-old idea that tells us money's value isn't linear. Each extra dollar brings less happiness than the last. That's why maximizing dollars doesn't equal maximizing well-being. Real success means maximizing utility, or, in simpler terms, the satisfaction and freedom you gain from your decisions. So, how can you apply this? Before every big financial decision, imagine the best and worst outcomes. Assign realistic probabilities, and ask yourself not, which makes the most money, but which makes me happiest over time. It's not about choosing between greed and the fear. It's about balancing both with logic. The people who grow and keep their wealth think like this instinctively. They understand that every decision carries a cost, not just in dollars, but in peace of mind. They plan not for 1 year, but for a lifetime of compounding choices. The missing billionaires weren't undone by fate. They were undone by poor decision frameworks. The real wealth builder isn't luck or timing. It's disciplined thinking under uncertainty. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never face. Wealth isn't lost in the stock market. It's lost in how we spend. Money management isn't just about investing. It's about how you convert wealth into life satisfaction without running out. The authors explain that financial independence isn't achieved by hoarding or overspending, but by aligning spending with purpose and probability. Every dollar you spend represents a trade between present comfort and future freedom. Most people spend impulsively, driven by emotion rather than intent. They upgrade cars, homes, and lifestyles, not because they need to, but because they can. Yet every can chips away at the later. To fix this, create a spending system grounded in your long-term plan. Start with your fixed costs, housing, food, transport, and minimize lifestyle inflation. Then direct a steady percentage of your income to long-term investments before you even see it. Automate saving, automate investing, automate restraint. Next, separate wants from genuine value. Ask before every purchase, will this make me happier 3 months from now? If the answer's no, skip it. Wealth is built not by saying no to everything, but by saying yes only to what compounds your life's utility. In the end, spending is the mirror of your values. The billionaires who vanished didn't fail at making money. They failed at managing joy. They confused comfort with growth, freedom with excess. True wealth doesn't mean spending more. It means needing less to live fully. That's the mindset that transforms financial decisions into lasting abundance. Imagine you've built wealth through years of work, discipline, and smart choices. And yet, one small shift in behavior could unravel it all. That's the uncomfortable reality explored next. The missing billionaires didn't just make bad investments. They made small, repeated errors in behavior under uncertainty. Humans are wired for short-term emotion, not long-term logic. We chase highs, fear losses, and make decisions based on feelings instead of probabilities. The authors reveal that our minds use mental shortcuts called heuristics, useful for survival, disastrous for money. We overweight recent experiences, so after a market crash, we panic and sell low. When the market rises, greed takes over and we buy high. We see patterns where none exist and mistake luck for skill. Even when we know better, emotion hijacks reason. The solution isn't to suppress emotion, but to design a process that protects you from it. Decide in advance how you'll react to different scenarios before the storm hits. Automate what you can. Set rebalancing rules for your portfolio. Define your spending limits, and write down your reasons before every investment. When the moment of uncertainty arrives, follow the plan, not the feeling. Think of it like flying on instruments. A pilot in turbulence can't rely on instincts. They rely on their dashboard. Your dashboard is your system, fixed allocations, percentage-based risks, and pre-decided responses. It's not glamorous, but it's what separates lasting fortunes from lost ones. The missing billionaires didn't fail to make money. They failed to manage themselves. Wealth doesn't vanish through ignorance, but through emotion, unguarded by structure. The only investor who wins is the one who builds a process that keeps them in the game when their instincts scream to quit. Now, imagine a different problem, not losing wealth, but enjoying it without destroying it. The book dives into one of the most overlooked financial skills: how to spend your money wisely over time. Most people think saving is hard and spending is easy. The truth? Smart spending is one of the hardest skills in finance. In the author's framework, money is meant to be used across a lifetime, not hoarded for fear of the future, and not drained by short-term desire. The challenge is finding the balance that keeps your happiness curve rising without emptying your account. They call it lifetime consumption optimization. You're not just saving for retirement. You're structuring your spending so your money supports you, not traps you. Here's the practical way to apply it. First, calculate your essential expenses, the non-negotiables that maintain your security. Next, determine what amount of discretionary spending truly enhances your happiness. Then, design a withdrawal or spending plan that aligns with realistic life expectancy, investment growth, and inflation. Don't let fear or greed dictate your spending pace. Fear makes you hoard wealth you'll never use. Greed makes you consume what should have sustained you. Real financial intelligence means knowing when to stop accumulating and start living deliberately. The goal isn't to die with the most money. It's to live with the most freedom. The rich who stay rich understand this. Wealth is a tool, not a trophy. The missing billionaires misunderstood that balance, spending either recklessly or fearfully. The wise build a rhythm, earning, growing, and enjoying, without ever losing sight of what money was meant to serve: a life well lived. There's a paradox at the heart of money. The more you have, the more complex your decisions become, and the harder it is to make good ones. The missing billionaires didn't just lose wealth through bad luck or bad markets. They lost it through a slow erosion of judgment. Wealth amplifies everything: confidence, fear, temptation, and without a clear decision framework, it eventually magnifies mistakes. Victor Haghani and James White explain that true financial intelligence isn't about predicting markets, but about managing uncertainty with discipline. Every major financial decision you'll face, investing, saving, retiring, or gifting, involves trade-offs between risk, reward, and time. The wealthy who survive long-term think in probabilities, not predictions. They ask, what outcomes are possible, and how likely are they, instead of what will happen next. To apply this thinking, you must first accept uncertainty as a constant companion, not an enemy. Start by creating a personal decision policy, a living document that defines how you'll act under specific conditions. For example, if my portfolio drops 20%, I will rebalance instead of panic. Or, I'll never invest more than 15% of my assets in a single opportunity. These rules may sound simple, but they create guardrails that protect you when emotion clouds reason. Next, embrace the concept of expected value, a way of quantifying decisions by weighing potential gains against their likelihood. It's how professional investors decide whether a risk is worth taking. If a bet offers huge upside but only a small chance of success, it's not worth it. If it offers modest returns but a high probability of payoff, that's sustainable wealth. The Missing Billionaires failed because they made each decision in isolation, guided by confidence instead of calibration. The wise view every decision is part of a larger pattern, a chain of choices that compounds into a future. Your wealth is not the result of one big win. It's the accumulation of 1,000 disciplined, rational steps. Mastering decision-making under uncertainty isn't just financial wisdom. It's emotional maturity. It's learning to prefer being approximately right over being precisely wrong. The more uncertain the future feels, the more valuable that mindset becomes. In the end, The Missing Billionaires isn't a cautionary tale. It's a manual for building lasting financial freedom. It's a reminder that wealth is fragile, not because markets are cruel, but because people are inconsistent. The real challenge isn't earning money. It's keeping it through clarity, humility, and discipline. The authors leave us with one final truth. Wealth and wisdom must grow together, or neither will last. You can't outsource your financial thinking. You can't rely on luck, intuition, or trends. You need a personal framework, a system that governs how you save, invest, and spend, regardless of circumstance. Practically, it means setting clear rules. Automate your saving and investing, keep your costs low, avoid concentration risk, and rebalance periodically. Protect against lifestyle creep by tying spending to real value, not social proof. And most importantly, revisit your plan as your life changes, because wealth, like health, needs maintenance. The billionaires who vanished weren't victims of fate. They were victims of freedom without structure. In chasing more, they lost sight of enough. Your goal isn't to accumulate endlessly. It's to design a financial life that's sustainable, peaceful, and self-correcting. A life where money works quietly in the background while you focus on what matters most. The simple truth? Financial success isn't about outsmarting others. It's about outlasting your worst impulses. Wealth doesn't disappear overnight. It fades with every undisciplined choice. And staying rich in the end isn't about luck or brilliance. It's about staying humble enough to remember that even when the odds are in your favor, you still have to play them wisely. And that's the secret most people never learn. Wealth isn't built in a moment of brilliance. It's protected through a lifetime of better decisions. If you've watched this far, you already think differently from most. You're not chasing luck, you're learning strategy. Now here's what I want you to do next. Hit that like button if this opened your eyes to a new way of thinking about money. Subscribe and join the Turbo Tribe, because the next video dives even deeper into how ordinary people quietly build extraordinary wealth. But before you go, I want to hear from you. What's one financial mistake you'll never make again after hearing this? Drop it in the comments below. I read every one of them, and your story might help someone else avoid their next costly decision. Thanks for watching, and remember, the goal isn't just to make money, it's to make money make sense. Stay smart, stay disciplined, and I'll see you in the next one.